Okay. Hi everyone. Today I'm joined by Richard from Boost My Customers. My name is Vanessa and I am the UK and Ireland Sales and Operations Manager for Erchonia. We have been working with Richard for a few months now, and Richard really helps our clients achieve the best out of their lasers. So you may know us for our Emerald laser, which is our premium fat loss and cellulite reduction laser. And quite a few of our clinics have been working with you, Richard. Because one of the biggest things I think that we always find is that clinics sometimes, when they make a large capital investment, they're a bit scared about, are they going to get customers? Are they going to have enough patients to pay for it? So do you want to talk us through a little bit about what you have delivered for some of our customers and what you could potentially deliver for, let's say, customers joining us who are maybe a little bit scared about the purchase of capital equipment?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yes, I'm Richard from Boost My Customers. I think the biggest thing is if you're investing in any device, the biggest worry is, oh my goodness, I've got this big investment. How am I going to pay it off? And a lot of clinics kind of feel like they have to go down the discount route as well, right? With, to get people through the door, I need to discount it. But I think especially with like your device is there at the top of the top end, right?
Yeah.
So if you go down that discount route, it doesn't attract the right people. So I think the biggest thing when buying a device is kind of selling the transformation that device can do rather than just the actual device name as well. So a lot of clinics, if we said Emerald Laser, it's awesome device, but people may not know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
But if we said revolutionary fat loss device, immediately in people's minds, they're like, oh my goodness, I need to have this device.
Yeah.
And then that makes it way easier to get clients through the door. So I think that's the biggest thing we focus on when working first with a clinic, is kind of selling that transformation rather than the name of the treatment to begin with. And then as they come in, then they know about the device, they can learn about all the lasers and all of the cool things that the Emerald laser does. But to begin with, you can't get caught into the trap of either discounting it or just selling the device name, because that's quite tricky to actually get people through the door.
Exactly. So the way that I talk to customers about what you do at Boost My Customers is that you will guarantee them a minimum of 30 leads each month, and you'll work with them over a period of 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, etc., etc. So what is like the process? So let's say if someone wanted to work with Boost My Customers, what's the process? How does it work? Because it takes some time to build things up. It doesn't just happen instantaneously, where let's say you have an ad and then all of a sudden, you have 30 people sending you an inquiry. So what's the kind of process in terms of, let's say, from start to kind of finish?
Yeah, so before we launch any of the ads, we always make sure their front of house team are trained up on the sales scripts, how to convert leads as well. Because honestly, leads are pointless if they don't convert, right?
Exactly.
So we could send a clinic 200 leads, but if the front of house don't know what they're doing, if the leads are poor quality, if they've got contraindications, all of these things, it's just a waste of time for that end clinic. So we kind of set the foundations first of, are their team good? Are they trained up? Do they have the right things in place? And then we build out their campaign. And then typically when we launch the campaign, the first month is that kind of testing phase, we call it. But for example, we worked with one of your clinics, and in the first month, they had like 20 plus bookings, paying people coming in for the Emerald laser. But we never say you're definitely going to get flooded, because obviously every clinic's a little bit different. All of the demographics can be different as well. But I think the biggest thing between a clinic who has, if say 2 clinics have the same amount of leads, if one clinic's trained on how to convert them and one doesn't have a system, clinic A is going to outperform them all of the time, even if clinic B is a more established clinic. So it really is about setting the foundation, getting your team on the right page. And then the good thing of our system is we can track all of the leads. You can say, this lead saw your website, they went on here, did this, and then they bought a package, which makes it easier for a clinic, because it can be scary spending money on advertising. There's so many gurus out there who will promise the world and then never deliver. So with our system, you can see you spent £100 this week on ads, but you made back £2,000. And then once clinics see that, it's way easier to invest more and kind of be a bit like, this is actually working, rather than I've paid someone, I have no idea what's going on,
Yeah, I think it just provides them with that reassurance that they obviously need. Because it's scary. Obviously, yes, we are high value capital sale equipment, but it delivers a fantastic result. So patients, when they invest that amount of money in a program of treatments, they know they're going to get the results that they're paying for. But like what you said earlier, a clinic needs to make sure that they've got that quality lead there, that they're not just being flooded with inquiries of individuals who, let's say, can't afford to purchase the course of treatment. So how does your system sort of like, not differentiate, but how does your system sort of put through qualified leads as opposed to just flooding them with loads of different leads? How does that work for a clinic?
Yeah, great question. So I think instead of, again, doing the offer to get people in, that just attracts anyone. Because if
Yeah.
I see an advert for 90% off any treatment, I'll probably
Yeah.
still click on it even if I'm not interested. So it's about positioning them, kind of premium positioning, we call it. So the clinic, we're not selling it as a commodity where it's like, oh, Susie does it for cheaper down the road. We kind of do value-based positioning where it's like, this clinic's been around for this long, or they've got the best devices. And that naturally attracts those, it gets rid of the time wasters and attracts the people you want into your clinic.
Yeah.
But then it's also not really sending traffic to your website. It's probably the biggest mistake clinics make. So even if you've got the best looking website in the world, if I go onto your page and I see about us, our treatments, meet our doctors, contact, I'm just going to get a bit overwhelmed and maybe forget why I went on that website in the first place.
Yeah, you get
So
lost
what we do,
in the website.
exactly, there's pop-up saying join our email newsletter, and it's just a bit messy. So we actually create for all of the clinics included in our marketing a landing page, which is basically a one-page website with just one option, which is to book that treatment. Say it's emerald laser, and it educates them. It tells them who the treatment's for, but also who it's not for. So if you're looking for an overnight success treatment isn't for you, you need to commit to a course of treatment, etc., etc. So when people read that, naturally the time wasters are scared off, but your dream clients are attracted because they say, oh, this is legit. This is actually a treatment that's FDA approved. It's got all of these things that I need.
Yeah.
And then once they've read that, it says clicking a button, answering 7 or 8 qualifying questions. So do you have these contraindications? Why do you want the treatment? How soon do you want to go ahead? And anything the clinic can think of that if a time waster was this, how can we reverse engineer that to put in questions that would naturally scare off those time wasters? Yeah. And that's how we're able to get such high conversions with our leads, because everyone who actually opts in, even if they don't go straight ahead with the treatment, they're local, they've got the money, they're interested in that kind of treatment. And it makes the clinic's life way easier to obviously convert them into the package sales.
And how long do you think, like, let's say if, you know, someone was investing in, let's say, working with you guys, how long would it sort of take for them to get a good return on investment? Like realistically, let's say if they're paying X amount a month, how many patients can they realistically convert with the right training, let's say on a monthly basis?
Got it. I'd say on average for pretty much any treatments, let's just say Emerald as an example, because we've got loads of case studies. Yeah. I'd say average in the first month is 45 leads. And again, by leads, it's not just a number. You've got name, email, phone number, all of the other qualifying questions. So say around 40, 45. Yeah. Ideally, in the first month, we aim for a 25% conversion rate, meaning 1 out of 4 leads will go ahead and buy a package of treatments. Yeah. So that could be around, like, say, 10 in the first month, package sold. Yeah. Which with Emerald, it's actually quite high priced as well. So it works really, really good.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've had some clinics in their first month make over 10 grand. That's amazing. Just from the advertising. But I say every sales process is different. So it depends on your team, how confident you are. Yeah. But typically 40 plus leads in the first month, convert 25% of them. And then as time goes on, we do aim for 40% conversion rate is kind of the average when a client's been with us for around 3 to 4 months. Yeah. But of course, it is a process as well. Right? You're not going to get there straight away. Yeah. You still got to work for it. But I think that's the reason why clinics like working with us, because we would have told them up front, you're not going to hit these numbers straight away. Exactly. Whereas other people will just promise the world and never deliver. And then it's just not, it's never fun for anyone, is it, when that happens? So
definitely not. And I think this is one of the great things about having like a partnership with you guys is you will work with a clinic at every step of the way. Because from our perspective, it's great to have a new clinic on board, but if they're not utilizing the technology and if they're not getting patients purchasing treatment programs, then they're never going to get full return on investment. And 2, the patients that actually have access to the technology is always going to be quite low. So that's really great that obviously you provide them with, and it's all new customers as well. So it's not exactly like when that customer comes through the door, they're only interested in one treatment. The clinic obviously can then cross-sell them and do other treatments. So you've got to build like a long-term patient, a long-term client, and build up that rapport over a period of time, which is great.
Exactly, yeah. And even doing reactive, we do a lot of work with clinics with a big database. If they've just got a device, we do a reactivation campaign. We send out a text to a list of their client database, a simple 3-sentence text. That gets about a 95% open rate. And we've had one clinic in Swansea we were working with who literally got over 100 plus bookings within 24 hours of just doing one text without doing discounts. And that flooded a new device they got.
Yeah.
So even if you don't want to do paid ads, which you don't have to straight away, even utilizing that database, like you said, is still a good way to get people in. But then, of course, you still need new clients coming in as well to kind of keep the business running. So there's ways to balance the marketing as well. There's not one way is always the best way to go. It's unique to your clinic, which is why we have calls like this where we hop on with a clinic. And if we don't feel like we can help them, we will just let them know. And if we do, it's like, yeah, these are the next steps. So we make it pretty simple for everyone as well.
Yeah. Sometimes we quite often get a new clinic coming on board, you know, brand new, opening up, and they're very scared because obviously making a capital investment, regardless if it's 20,000, 40,000, 80,000, it's still scary because you've got a financial commitment and then you don't know if you're going to have enough patients coming through the door. So do you also work with new clinics that maybe aren't as well established, don't have that level of customer database as a clinic that's been 3, 5, 10 years on the go? And can you still work and help with a new clinic?
Yeah, 100%. I say it's a different workflow. So working with someone who's brand new is a different strategy to someone who's been around for a while because they've already got their systems in place. You roughly know what their conversion rates are, how well their team are performing. Whereas when it's brand new, we have no real data to work with. We can't look back on their old marketing and say, great, these are the key things they've done well. These are what they haven't done as well. But the system works the same as long as we're positioning the device as that premium product. So if they've got a legit device, then it's still easy to get 40 plus inquiries in the month.
Yeah.
Because again, when you see an ad, you've got 1.6 seconds on Facebook to take action, right? They're scrolling through. People aren't going to see your clinic name and be like, yep, I know that clinic. So even if you're brand new, it's do you have a good hook? Do you have a good device? And do you have something that can transform them? So I've got cellular, I really want to get rid of it. This clinic can offer it. Therefore, I'm still going to go and visit them rather than they've been around for 30 years. That doesn't really, it plays a little bit, but it's not the major thing to make people stop and be like, I need to visit to have this kind of treatment.
No, exactly. But yeah, I think in terms of like a clinic that's purchasing a device, I just want them to know that there are options out there that can really help them to bring in new customers. And bring in new leads. So then it takes the pressure off them thinking they've only got to sell to their own database. They do have new people coming in as well. I mean, I'll always say to a clinic, if you can't sell to your own database, it's maybe not right for you now because you can't just rely on new people coming in. But having all these new people coming in, new patients, it's an added bonus for sure.
1,000,000%. Yeah, I think if you don't utilize your current database, there's probably no point doing the paid marketing as well to an extent.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of clients who work with where they want to jump on paid ads, but we're like, it's actually not the right time for you. Like, focus on this, is cheaper. And then when you're ready, we can then start generating with the paid ads. So I think it's more of an open discussion. If someone says to you, 100% need to do paid ads, or you must do this, that should ring a little bit of alarm bells because they most likely haven't looked in, they've spoke to you for 5 minutes. You don't exactly know the whole
This is
situation.
why people get burnt with marketing companies because they promise them the world and then they under deliver every single time. So yeah, you really have to do your due diligence and look at what's good out there and what will deliver a result.
Exactly. And also case studies, make sure people have got at least 50 plus case studies. Again, we've got case studies with the Emerald Laser and all of those things. But even if people don't use us on marketing, which is cool, just make sure whoever you're using, they're compliant with all the regulatory authorities. They've got all of these things in place. Because I know a lot of clinics who tried a cheaper, quote unquote, marketing agency, and then they got flagged up by the ASA, the CAP, because they were doing these bold claims that you're not allowed to do. And now that clinic's hurt for the long run, and that marketing agency is gone, right? They don't care. But for that clinic, they still got that red mark against their name, which obviously affects things in the long run.
Yeah, massively. Maybe we can like in the comments section or whatever, we can maybe put like an example of like an ad that we've ran, like an Emerald ad, so we can maybe like show people what that looks like. That would be quite cool.
Yeah, I've actually got a case study website for Emerald Laser showing a literal live case study. So if we can link that below, and then they can read through it and kind of see what actually happens in real life with these kind of campaigns, for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Richard, and we'll be more than happy to guide you. But it's good to, well, we wanted you guys to know that there are options out there. We've worked with Richard for some time now, so we have quite a few different case studies, successful case studies about clinics that have really transformed their bottom line by using tried and tested systems.
100%. Yeah, it's always worth a chat. Even if we don't go ahead of it, we can still give you loads of value. So I think even scheduling that free call, speaking to yourself and just getting it out there, I think is always worthwhile, because there's always ways to grow your clinic. If you're looking to grow, their strategies. But again, lots of clinics are closed-minded, thinking, oh, we've done this marketing for this long, and obviously the system's not perfect for them. But for those who are looking to grow, who are investing in capital equipment, this is honestly the best way to go for them.
And not every clinic owner has time to do everything as well. Like you do sometimes really need to outsource things because there's not enough hours in a day to get through treating patients, putting a business plan, looking at new devices, maximizing therapists. So there's a lot of factors to take into account. So definitely reach out and we can obviously help guide you.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Yeah, always here to chat.
Perfect. Any questions, stick them in the comments.